Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Okay, so you can, whichever way you want to hold it, I guess that
You
way.
should. Yeah.
Is that good?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay, so Katal will be the official photographer and do a clip of the
So focus,
class
because I will
and
catch you.
and get, you can wave to Katal. So, anyway, thanks for those of you who come for shifting your schedule to be available tonight. And the other room was taken for another class, so I'm sorry it's a little bit crowded here. I'll start by saying a few things about the final paper, which I know some people have asked about. I'm going to use the same assignment that I've used in the class for a number of years, which I've enjoyed is reading the papers as a faculty member, and students have found the assignment a demanding one, but I think incredibly rewarding one, so I wanted to stay with it. And so the paper is to write a cost-benefit or a cost-effectiveness paper, to do a cost-effectiveness study. And will be some original analysis. So I don't want you to take if somebody has done a cost-effectiveness on exactly the same topic, it's not just re-reporting what somebody else has done. If somebody else has done it, make some change. If they did it for one country, you could adapt it to another country. Or if they did it for one set of assumptions, you could do it another. But in other words, the analysis should be in some way original, but could build another part, and to be at least plausible. So I wrote here to be based on real data where available. But as you've seen with the class so far, and you'll continue to see, cost effectiveness and cost benefit studies need lots of data on lots of things. And we can find some of the items that we need easily, some are hard to come by. And so the stuff that's hard to come by, you can search for, you can get, you can get expert opinion, you can get the data from some slightly different setting and think it's applicable. And then, if none of the other above work, you can make an assumption and justify why you think it's a plausible assumption. So, the Earth, for example, is not perfectly round, but you can make the assumption that the Earth is round. So or that if it's some medication, that the medication works or doesn't, people will use it or whatever. So in some ways you can both make up for the absence of data, and if you want to, in some ways, want to simplify the real world, you could do that. You could all do that also with the assumptions. I'm encouraging students to work in pairs, but you can't work. You can work individually also, but I'll essentially hold the same standard. So if you work individually, you sort of have to do as much as two people would do. So if you want to work, if there's a topic that you want to work on and nobody else is interested, you prefer to work alone, that's okay. But it's a somewhat higher standard that you'll be setting for yourself. Students have asked about working in groups of 3. And for uniformity, I'd like to keep the groups limited to 2. But there's a following proviso if you're a group of 3 or even 4, and that is you're free to meet with other people, other groups as you write your paper. So, as an example, if there were 4 people that wanted to work on the same topic, that would be fine. They could talk together about it, share with some research, but in the end would submit two papers, and the 2 papers should be somewhat different. So they might say if there was a problem that lent itself to different alternatives. One group could look at alternative A, and another group at alternative B. So they both could share, learning about the problem and the setting and so on, but look at 2 different approaches to it. And so one could look at A compared to doing nothing, and the other could look at B compared to nothing. And you could reference one another's papers if you wanted. So potentially more people could work on a topic, but each paper would be 1 or 2 students, and then I would then grade each paper individually and assign a grade for the paper, and then both students. whoever wrote the paper will get that grade. If it's a pair, which would be generally the case, and that would be the grade on the paper for the two students that work together. So you may well, your Brandeis is a learning experience, and so think about how this paper can enhance that process. If you want to work with somebody from a different country, it's a chance to learn about that country. Some of you are American, some of you are not. You may want to work with American, may want to work with an international student, vice versa. Again, to learn about a different setting and a different culture than the one in which you grew up in or were educated. There's more, but I still have latte loaded. If you go to latte, you'll see a paper that I'll bring up right here. Tom reminded me to be kind to the environment, so I didn't photocopy this to print out, but I'll just. But it's on. On latte, if you go to the part at the last session that says final assignment, then there's a page that has final assignment guidelines, and so you can get your copy of this paper. And just to say a little bit about the format and about the deadlines. So the paper should be about 15 double-spaced pages, and then to try to format it like a real report would be. So have a cover page, and then have an abstract, have the text of the paper, preferably with headings, major headings if you want, subheadings, but at least major headings for the paper, and then references, preferably at the end, and use any standard bibliographical format you want. The one that's usually easiest is the author and the author's name and the year, but you could also number them if you'd like to, in whatever style you prefer. And then they should be submitted online using Latte. And then the deadline listed here, the last class will be the 10th of March. So allowed extra 11 days after the class for that, for the paper, and 2 weekends. The weekend the class ends plus the following weekend, and then do 11 o'clock at night on Sunday of the second weekend. And I will then endeavor to read them as quickly as I can, and we'll give comments back on each paper. I'd expect to have a paragraph of comments on each paper. So, question? Yes.
Well, I think the last time you said any student that would like to do the second part of the course can actually write the papers.
Yes.
At the last.
Good part. So there's another. Thanks for reminding me. Excellent. So there's another paper, another set of instructions that Clifton and Yara helped with, and that's also on the website, sort of called something like